Hello, and in today's video we're going to look at the first blood cards that came with my Vampire starter set. So let's get these sorted out of the shrink wrap and then have a quick look at them. Now the first set we're going to look at is the first blood Ventrue. You do get a nice little summary card here, so with the turn sequence, some of the disciplines, the clans, other bits and pieces, and sect, etc., and then it reminds you can go off and get the rule book. Now I believe these are meant to be fairly simple decks to play, so we'll see. So Emily Carson, she's a Primogen. During your discard phase, Emily can burn the edge to unlock. Not bad. Only one superior, 5. Graham Gottsman, he's a little bit better. He's a Prince of Miami, 7. Got a couple of superiors there. Joe Bile, 5. He's Camarilla, obviously. Whilst he has no title, he cannot block titled vampires. He gets +1 stealth on actions to put vampires in play with 2 superior. Lodin, the guy from the cover. Prince of Chicago, can prevent 1 damage from an opposing minion strike once each combat. Yeah, decent. 8. With a few icons, 3 of which are superior. Mustafa, Prince of Istanbul. Oh, that's small text. During the polling step of a political action, any older Toreador controlled by another Methuselah can move 1 blood from themselves to Mustafa to force him to cast his vote and ballots as that Toreador's controller chooses. 6. Couple of superiors. Victor, Prince of Atlanta. If a Golconda inner piece you play is cancelled, you can move that card from your ash heap to your library, shuffling it. 1 superior and 6 blood. Okay, so I have to keep an eye out for Golconda. So, Ancilla Empowerment. Successful referendum means each Methuselah burns 1 pool for each minion they control. That could be quite a nasty political action. Blood Dole. 1, 2, 3 of them. Put this card on a vampire you control. During the master phase, the vampire controller can move 1 blood from this vampire to their pool, or from their pool to this vampire. Really nice card, that. 4 Bondins. Only usable during a bleed action. You get either +1 bleed or +1 stealth and +1 bleed limited. And that's obviously for the superior version. And if I actually flip this over here, I could tell you what that symbol means. Dominate. 2 conditionings, only usable during a bleed action, +2 bleed or +3 bleed. It's going to cost you 1 blood. Daring the Dawn, vampires cannot block this action. This vampire takes 2 unpreventable environmental aggravated damage. Ooh, nasty. As above, but this vampire takes 1 unpreventable environmental aggravated damage. Okay. Trying to work out why one's better than the other. Well, I see it straight away, not after action resolution. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4 deflections. Only usable if a minion is bleeding you after blocks are declined. Lock this reacting vampire, change the target of the bleed to another Methuselah. As above, do not lock this vampire. That's pretty good, just deflect the damage off to someone else. 2 of Dominate Kine. +1 stealth action, direct bleed with 1 bleed. Still a location controlled by another Methuselah as a directed action. Okay, not bad. 6 Govern the Unaligned. Bleed with +2, +1 stealth action, add 3 blood to a younger vampire in your uncontrolled region. Yeah, not bad. I like that one. 2 Indomitability. Prevent 1 damage, press or prevent 1 damage with 1 optional press. Yeah, I'm liking this deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind resources contested. Allocate 4 points among 2 or more Methuselahs. Successful referendum means each Methuselah burns 1 pool for each point allocated. Okay, so yeah, nice little vote. Misdirection, lock any minion. This is a weird card that's quite popular, I believe. On the Q Vive. Only usable by a locked minion. A minion can play only 1 on the QI between the unlock phases. This minion wakes, they ignore the requirement to be unlocked for playing reaction cards and attempting to block until the end of the action. If this minion is an ally, they do not unlock as normal during their next unlock phase. 2 rolling with the punches, prevent 1 damage, burn 1 blood to prevent all damage from the opposing minion strikes this round. Second tradition domain, requires a prince or a Justicar, lots of those in this deck. +2 intercept, also usable by a locked prince or Justicar, even if the intercept is not yet needed to burn 1 blood to unlock and attempt to block with +2 intercept. 2 seductions, only usable as an action as the action is announced. Choose a younger vampire. The chosen vampire cannot block this action as above, but choose any vampire. Soak, only 1 of those it looks like. A vampire can only play 1 soak, prevent 2 non-aggravated damage, or prevent 4. Unflinching persistence, 2 of these, prevent 1 damage. Maneuver, and this vampire can prevent 1 damage later this round. Okay, that's not bad. Uptown Hunting Ground, unique. During your unlock phase, a ready vampire you control can gain 1 blood. A vampire can gain blood from only 1 hunting ground each turn. Ventrue Headquarters, lock during the polling step of any referendum to get +3 votes. That could be quite handy. And then 3 here, weighted walking stick, only usable before range is determined during the first round of combat. Put this card with 5 counters on it, on this minion. It becomes a melee weapon that can strike for strength +1. For each damage inflicted by this strike, even if it's prevented, burn a counter. Burn this card if it has no counters, and you can only have 1 stick. That's a pretty interesting deck. I think it uses a lot of political shenanigans by the sounds of it, and has lots of sort of high-ranking guys, and lots of jiggery-pokery with on the QI, and resource contested, and unaligned, dominate, deflection in particular, conditioning, and where is it, the blood dole. So yeah, I like that deck. I'm going to have to double check the strategy with this one, and yeah, I quite like the Ventrue. Anyway, let's look at the next deck. Let's get a little bit crazy. We've got the Malkavians. So again, I was expecting a card listing, so it's quite interesting they've given you a nice little quick reference sheet. So Apollonia, Camarilla, can steal 1 blood from a younger vampire as a directed action, 7 blood with 3 superiors. Arthur Denholm, plain old Camarilla with 5 with 2 superior. Bela, very classic Dracula look there. Only 1 superior, he's an independent, cannot take political actions, and he's a -1 stealth, 3 blood. Gem Ghastly, Primogen, you and Gem can play cards requiring a Ventrue as if she were a Ventrue, 2 superior and 6 blood. Moral, not much going on there, 6 blood but 3 superior. Osric, burn a location you control to get +1 stealth, mostly superior and 7 blood. Right, so we've got an Asylum Hunting Ground, unique location. During your unlock phase, a ready vampire you control can gain 1 blood. A vampire can gain blood from only 1 hunting ground each turn. The Barons, unique location. Lock to discard a card. Draw in afterwards. Okay, good way of rifling through your deck, I suppose. 3 of the Blood Dole card. We know about this one. Very good for moving blood between you and your vampires and back. Cloak the Gathering. 3 of these. Stealth. +1. Only usable by a ready vampire other than the acting minion. The acting minion gets +1 stealth. So, nice little trick there. Coma. Oh, it's expensive. 3 blood. Strike, send the opposing vampire to torpor. Okay, that's pretty savage. As above, and the opposing vampire does not unlock as normal during their next unlock phase. Ouch. Okay, Confusion. 4 of those. Only usable during a bleed action, +1 bleed, and +1 bleed and +1 stealth for the improved version. 3 Elder Impersonation, +1 stealth, only usable if the minion attempts to block. That attempt fails, and that blocking minion cannot attempt to block this action again. Eyes of Chaos, 4 of those. Only usable during a bleed action, +1 bleed or +2. Game of Malkav. Ooh, there's a lot of text on this one. Each other Methuselah secretly chooses a number between 1 and 5. You choose a number between 1 and 6. Each Methuselah holds a card out with the chosen number of counters in it. Reveal the choices. Each Methuselah gains the amount of pool they chose unless another Methuselah chose exactly one less than they did, in which case they burn that amount instead. Okay, that could be nasty if you bid 6 and they bid 5, but there you go. Kindred Spirits. Loads of those. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those. Bleed any Methuselah. Gain 1 pool if this bleed is successful. As above, but with +1 bleed. Ooh, okay, nice. 1, 2, 3. 3 lost in the crowds. Stealth, into thin air, and lost in crowds cannot both be played, as above, but +2. Mind Tricks, 3 of those. As above, with 1 optional manoeuvre, so +1 stealth or +1 stealth with an optional manoeuvre. No Trace, 2. Only usable at long range, strike, combat ends, and if you're improved, just straight up combat ends. Lots of little fun sort of getting yourself out of trouble cards. Ooh, loads of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the QVI. Only usable by a locked minion. A minion can play only 1. We've read this, so minion wakes up basically. Sudden Reversal, out of turn card. Cancel a master card played by another Methuselah as it is played. No cost is paid. 4 Telepathic Misdirection. +1 Intercept, only usable if a minion is bleeding you after blocks are declined. Lock this reacting vampire, change the target of the bleed to another Methuselah. Okay, so not bad. And Veil the Legions, only usable by a ready unlocked vampire other than the active minion. Only 1 legion can be played. +1 stealth as above, and you can burn X blood to give the next X actions your minions perform +1 stealth. Yeah, I quite like the Malkavians as well. Nice deck. Lots of on the QVIs, so yeah, it's a fairly valuable card that I believe used to get played in certain tournaments quite a lot. Anyway, let's move on to the Nosferatu. And we know all about this card, so skip that. Beetle Man, Camarilla, 4 blood, 1 superior. Benjamin Rose, 7 blood, Prince of Washington DC, 2 superior. Can call a referendum to give you +1 hand size until the end of the game as a +1 stealth political reaction. Gustafa Brunhel, 3 superiors, 8 blood, Camarilla Primogen. Gustav can enter combat with a minion controlled by your predator or prey. Interesting. Harold Tanner. In combat, the controller of the minion opposing Harold plays with an open hand. 6 blood. Okay, and he's only got 1 superior. Jeremy. Wiskowski, I think. Jeremy can bleed with +1 bleed. As a direct action. 5 blood, no superior. Petra. 2 superior. Damage Petra inflicts on Bali is aggravated. Oh, nasty. A vampire burns 1 blood after using a press to continue combat with her. 5 blood. So very good if you know you're going to be facing that faction. Aid from Bats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? 6, I think. Aid from Bats. Strike 1 range damage with 1 optional maneuver, as above with an optional press. Okay. 3 ambushes, and to combat with a locked minion, this active minion gets 1 optional manoeuvre during the combat. So that's quite nice. You can pull in someone who someone wasn't expecting. Animalism. Put this card on a vampire, gets +1 level of animalism and +1 capacity. Cannot be put on a vampire with superior animalism. Army of Rats, +1 stealth. Put this card in play. During your unlock phase, your prey burns 1 pool. You can burn only 1 pool each turn with Army of Rats. Any minion can burn this card as a directed action. Blood Dole, 1, 2, 3 of them. Nice to have loads of those. Oh, Carrion Crows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. Only usable before range is determined. A vampire can play only 1 Carrion Crows each combat. The opposing minion takes 1 R environmental damage each round. This combat during normal strike, as above, but for 2. R being ranged, obviously. 1, 2, 3 Cat's Guidance. Only usable by locked vampire who is blocked. After block resolution, unlock this vampire with +1 intercept. And you'll notice a lot of these cards have the animalism symbol. Cloak the Gathering, we saw this in the Malkavians, +1 stealth, or you can use someone else with the superior. Computer hacking, obviously one of the Nosferatu's favourite tricks. Bleed with +1 bleed. Fame, unique, put this card on a ready vampire. The controller of this vampire burns 3 pool after this vampire goes to torpor. During each unlock phase, if this vampire is in torpor, that Methuselah burns 1 pool, so that's a nasty card. 3 Forced Awakenings, only usable by locked vampire. The vampire wakes. Okay, they do not block this action, they burn 1 blood. Okay, that's maybe not so good. 3 Guard Dogs, only usable by locked vampire during a bleed action against you. Unlock this vampire, as above, with 1 optional manoeuvre if the vampire blocks. Instinctive Reaction, only usable if your minion controlled by your predator is acting, +1 intercept, but as above with an optional manoeuvre if this vampire blocks. J.S. Simmons Esquire, a unique mortal with 1 life. The employer gets +1 bleed. The Labyrinth, unique location, locked to give Nosferatu you control +1 stealth. Laptop Computer, electronic, the bearer gets +1 bleed, a minion can only have 1 laptop computer. I think we saw this in one of the other decks, Lost in the Crowds, +1 stealth or +2. On the QVI, we've seen lots of these, only 2 in this deck, so the minion wakes. Power Base Montreal, unique location. During your influence phase, you can add 1 blood to the vampire in your uncontrolled region. Any vampire can steal this as a directed action. Raven Spy, 2 of those. Animal with 1 life, you get a +1 intercept as above, but the spy has 2 life, so that's quite nice. And I'm trying to think if any of these weren't animalism cards, actually. Unique location, hunting ground. During your unlock phase, a ready vampire you control can gain 1 blood. A vampire can gain blood from only 1 hunting ground each turn. Yeah, that's another nice deck. And that's what I like about this game. There's all these decks are really good and really playable. And this one is very themed on animalism, it seems. So those cards can be used with lots of other factions, I would imagine. So who's next? I think it's the Tremere. Let's get this open. So this guy's pretty good. Aiden, 7, gets 1 optional press each combat. He's got 3 superior. Klaus Wegner, only 1 superior. He's got 5. Musin Samir, 2 superior, 6. Ruta, guy from the cover. Timpsy gets -1 intercept, so again, good for dealing with them. 7 and 3 superior. Choice. Why they have to have all these funky names I can't pronounce, I really don't know. 3 superior, 8 blood. Prince of Geneva, cannot cast votes or ballots against blood hunt referendums, +1 strength. Zane, only 1 superior. Primogen, if Zane is not a prince, he can call a referendum to receive and contest the title held by a prince as a +1 stealth political action with 5 blood. Oh, here we go. 2 4/4 magnums, weapon gun, strike, 2 range damage with 1 optional manoeuvre each combat. Academic Hunting Ground, unique location. During your unlock phase, a ready vampire you control can gain 1 blood. A vampire can only gain 1 blood. Oh, I like that. Let's get a nice little healing going on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 appropriation. I think this symbol is going to feature a lot on these cards. Press, only usable to continue combat, and if it's superior, you can do manoeuvres. Arcane Library. During your influence phase, add 1 blood to a Tremere in your uncontrolled region. So lots of little bits of healing, it seems. Blood Dole, we know all about that, moving blood around. Bonding, 4 of those. Okay, we got a Dominate here. Only usable, +1 bleed, +1 stealth, and +1 bleed. I think we saw that in one of the other decks. Chantry, unique location. Lock this card and burn 1 pool or 1 blood from a ready Tremere you control during your master phase to move a Tremere from torpor to the controller's ready region. Okay, that's an interesting card. Charnas the Imp, unique demon with 1 life. Put on any minion, +1 stealth. Inflicts 1 damage on the employer during the unlock phase. immune to damage from the employer. If the employer is about to be burned, their controller can put Charnos on another minion. So, yeah, I guess it's an interesting way to give someone stealth. 1/2 enhanced senses, +1 intercept, +2 intercept for superior. I am noticing this deck has a few more icon requirements, so that's interesting. Force the Awakening, seen this before, usable by a locked vampire. They wake, and if they do not block, they burn a blood. The action, not if they do not block, but there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Govern the Unaligned, seen this one before. +2 bleed or stealth and 3 blood to a younger vampire. Ivory Bow, another equipment icon here. So strike for 1 ranged aggravated damage. On the QVI, 3 of them. Precognition, 2 of those, +1 intercept as above, and this vampire can prevent 1 damage during the first round of the resulting combat if they block. Spirit's Touch, 2 of those, +1 intercept as above with 1 optional maneuver. So it looks like we've got the eyeball and the magic symbol. So eyeball is Auspex and the magic symbol is Thaumaturgy. Sport Bike vehicle gets +1 intercept. This direction, 4 of those, seen that before, +1 intercept. Yeah, and change the target. Thaddeus Zoe, unique mage with 2 life, 0 strength, 2 bleed. It can strike at 2 ranged damage. Gets 1 optional maneuver each combat, and he can burn 1 blood from any vampire as a +1 stealth directed action. Theft of the VTES, quite a few of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those by the looks of it. Range strike, steal 1 blood or life, becoming blood. Range strike, steal 2 blood or life, becoming blood. So nice bit of transfer there. Vast Wealth, put this card on a ready minion you control. If you control this minion, they can equip with the first equipment you find in your library as a +1 stealth action. Working down from the top, shuffle afterwards. So yeah, it's a really good way of like tutoring your deck. Walk of Flame, not usable during the first round of combat. Strike for 1 ranged aggravated damage or superior 2 ranged aggravated damage. Yeah, I like that deck as well. My word, I like all these decks. So we've got the final one, the Toreador. Beautiful people. Let's have a look. Okay, so Epicasta Regatas? Ugh. Anyway, 3 superior, 8 life, Camarilla Prince of New York. You can move an action card played from your ash heap to your library after resolution. Gwendolyn Fleming from the cover. Only 2 superior, but 6. I keep saying life, I guess it's blood. Catalin Nadasti, 3 superior. During the polling step of political action, can burn 1 blood to force a non-acting vampire to abstain. That's interesting. 7. Thomas. Primogen, burn 1 pool after Thomas goes to torpor. Okay, but he's 4, so he's relatively easy to get out. Tyler McGill, in a referendum, Tyler gets +1 vote after any Methuselah burns the edge for a vote. He cannot block Nosferatu. 1 superior, 4. Vasily, Prince of Prague, contesting the title, costs 1 additional blood unless you have the edge. 6 blood, 1 superior, and he's got the serpent sneak there. Let's have a look. Aching Beauty, 1, 2, 3 of those. Play this card on any Toreador. If this Toreador is blocked, the blocking minion's controller burns 1 pool before block resolution. 4 Air of Elation, only usable during the bleed action. +1 bleed with an additional +1 bleed if this vampire is Toreador, so i.e. 2 bleed. +2 bleed with a +1 if it's Toreador, i.e. 3 bleed. Nice, like that one. Art Museum, unique location. During your influence phase to add 1 blood to your Toreador in your... Okay. So lock it and get 1 blood on the Toreador. Bewitching Oration. This funky card here. Only usable during the polling step. Gets +2 or +4 votes. So yeah, that's pretty powerful. Blood Dole. Great card, love it. Change of target. 4 of those. Only usable if this minion is blocked before block resolution. Unlock this active minion and the action ends. The minion cannot perform the same action again. Consanguineous Boon. It's a boon. Choose a clan. Successful referendum means each Methuselah gains 1 pull for each vampire of the chosen clan they control. Toreador, thank you very much. Crocodile's Tongue. Unusable if an ally or younger vampire attempts to block. That attempt fails and the blocking minion's controller cannot attempt to block. And they burn a blood or life to cancel this card as it's played. As above, but can't cost you 2 blood or life. So, what's that? 6, is that? Yeah, 6 enchant Kindred. Bleed with a +1 bleed or +1 stealth and add 2 blood to a younger vampire. Seen this one before. 4 of these. Kind resources contested. Allocate 4 points among 2 or more Methuselahs, and they burn a pool for each point allocated. So if you're going to lose a referendum, you can always play this card, give them extra points, and then burn them for it. Legal manipulations. Bleed with +2 bleed as above, and gain 1 pool if the bleed is successful for 1 or more. Okay. Majesty. 4 of those. Strike, combat ends, as above, and unlock this vampire. So really good on Superior because you can block and then unlock. On the cuvee, what's that, 5, 6? 5. 5 of the on the cuvee. Unusable by lock minion. They wake and don't unlock if they're dubris. Scorn of Adonis. Only usable during the opponent's step of a political action. Any Methuselah casting, including having a vampire casting votes or ballots against the referendum, burns a pool once the results are tallied. Society Hunting Grounds. During your unlock phase, a ready vampire you control can gain 1 blood. Telepathic Misdirection. 4 of those, +1 intercept, and we sort of know the rest from the other decks. So there you go. I don't think I dislike any of these decks. They're all great. So let's just sum up here. So there you go. That's the 5 First Blood decks. I think they're really good set of cards. Really good complement to the starter set. So out of all the Kickstarter stuff I've got, I've only shown you some of it to date. I think probably if you didn't get in on the Kickstarter, buy the starter set. If you really like the game, these cards sets are probably your next best bet because they give you nice playable decks, give you extra cards to mix in with your starter set. Really, really impressed. And I think relatively speaking, they're fairly simple decks to play. Anyway, yeah. I've got more stuff to show you in the future, but that'll probably be a while now. Until the next video, happy gaming.